Thank you. That was
Do you
really
want to go?
good.
How far do you have to go before you find your way back? How far do you have to go before you find your way back? Home, back home, your way back home. I visited the house where my grandmother grew up. From photographs I recognize a chair, chest of drawers. I look out the window and I see the view she saw, and it takes me back to when I was a child. When I was a child.
Your latest EP sounds so much more pop-ish, I would say, which is something very different than everything that I've done in the past, but at the same time interesting. How did that happen? And by the way, I'll put a link somewhere in here if you want to stream it or buy it. Go ahead and do it.
Thanks. So how did it get more pop? Is that what you mean?
Exactly. What's your idea behind the album this time?
Yeah, well, I love pop music. I love interesting pop music. I like, people like David Bowie who they'll make a song that you dance to and then later you'll be like, oh, that actually meant, that had some kind of real story behind it. So I felt kind of the challenge to make music that people could dance to that also told kind of stories that were important to me through it. Yeah.
Okay. What was the most challenging part or aspect of songwriting this time?
That's a good question. Well, I actually had a bit of kind of writer's block after the album. I was sort of like, so I did my debut album last year and I felt a bit like I'd written all about me. And I was trying to think of what I wanted to write about next. And I was like, I don't want to write about me anymore. I'm boring. Well, not boring, but, I felt kind of... And so I actually kind of did some research. Like I found this... I was reading this interview with Björk who said that her... Like, she was saying how, like, angry she was that female songwriters who write about anything other than their boyfriends get criticised. So she was like, if you write about, outer space or politics, then people say you're weird. And I thought, challenge accepted. I want to write about these things. And that helped kind of be like, oh, that's what I want to write about. So, yeah.
Interesting. If you look at the EP cover, it's also very kind of different and interesting, and there's so much purple in there. And I wasn't going to really ask any questions about it, but I've noticed that all of your clothes are also matched with the same theme. Is there any idea behind it?
It kind of came about accidentally. Like I just had that top at the photo shoot, and then the photographer, whose name is Wilk, he does really cool color stuff. So he was like, "Oh, let's get the background the same color." So that kind of was accidental. But then what I liked about it was there's kind of a femininity in the color, kind of pinkish, and I thought, yeah, I want to kind of be strong and feminine, like showing that you don't have to. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So then I kind of thought, oh, I'll take that through to the clothes for the tour and the kind of style and stuff like that.
Every time I'm hosting someone on this channel, I try to look for something different they can do. And one of the things that I found interesting about you is the fact that you make your own like sound effects when you're performing live, from the clapping gesture to the weird noises or voices that you make with the hands, and also beatboxing. Is that something that has started with Phia, or have you been doing that for much longer?
Yeah, it started when it was kind of just out of necessity that I bought a loop pedal and I attached the kalimba to it, which is the kind of African instrument I play, and I was like, this is really fun. I kind of got sick of, back when I started the project, I was sick of playing with a band because too many people to organise and, and I thought, what sounds can I make by myself? So I could just try and make as many sounds on my own. And that's when you start thinking about body percussion and vocal, beatboxing and stuff like that.
Very creative. Well, the good news is I happen to be using a mic for my interviews. Would you mind beatboxing for us a little bit?
Try. Okay. Okay, I do it very loosely. There are like really amazing beatboxers out there. I'm not an amazing beatboxer, but okay, here we go.
That was
Do you want
really
to go?
good.
My heart has strings like a violin I sing. Won't you hear our song? My heart has strings like a guitar and you strum and will you play me a major chord? My heart has strings like a violin I sing. Won't you hear our song? In silence I hear you strum. Coming over, I'll sing along.
Another thing that I also found very awesome when you do it, when you're also beatboxing, is that you have that little red machine on stage, which is like press on and then it records and stuff.
Yeah.
It might be something really famous, but I come from a metal background, so people don't really use that.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, so it's a loop pedal, and basically you've got one button for record and one button to stop, and so I have all my instruments and my vocals going through that, so I can create kind of the layers of music live. So I kind of drop in at the beginning like a 4-bar loop, and then that's the basis of the song, and I can build up from that.
Begin again. Would you like to begin again? It would be nice to begin again. What would you say if you could start all over again? Remember when a brother was just a friend, or a sister was your best friend, before we grew up and complicated things. And would you rewind to when we met, or when you first got your fingers wet? And how would you know when to forget? It's like a mess of tangled strings. Who knows where it ends or begins? And in the ocean of everything, who knows where it ends or begins?
Is there any artists or musician that live out throughout your music, or has kind of what you say? I don't know how
Like
to say.
inspired me? Is
Yeah,
that what you mean?
I'm
In
just
Berlin?
trying to make this up more complicated.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Good work. Do you mean in Berlin or just anyone?
Just anyone.
Um,
If that's in Berlin, that's also cool.
Yeah, well, I'd say I listened a lot to Camille, like the French singer who does crazy things with her voice. I listened a lot to her quite a few years ago, and I think that's really made its way into my music. I love Feist, and I love Tune Yards. They're probably the 3 artists that I've listened to the most that I learn a lot from. And the Beatles, obviously.
These were my questions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the
Oh, you're
time.
welcome. Thank you.
Happy to have you.